Hi guys, welcome back to Liking Hiking. So I have to apologize for this video quality. I don't have my microphone or my tripod with me. But I promised you a 3 Peaks tips video. So here it is. Basically we did the 3 Peaks back in June. So I will link the video above and definitely have a look at that. It was so much fun. For those of you that don't know, the National 3 Peaks Challenge is in the UK. So you hike the tallest mountain in England, the tallest mountain in Scotland, and the tallest mountain in Wales, all within 24 hours. So it was tons of fun. We didn't quite finish because of weather, which I'll get into later. On Ben Nevis was too bad, but time-wise, we could have finished on time, which is good. I definitely don't count it as we achieved it, and if I go back and do it again, which hopefully I will be able to one day, I would definitely be putting into practice the things I learned this time. So my biggest tip is to be as flexible as you can with the time that you go. So you know, if you can choose what days you do it on, and like, you know, if you're able to go at last minute notice or whatever, if you've just got a group of friends, that would probably be the best. If you can't, make sure you set aside at least 4 days, because if we could have moved our challenge even like an hour or two either way and be more flexible with the times, it would have helped a lot with the weather situation. So you definitely want to, just for the weather alone, be able to be flexible with when you start, and then you can pick the best start time for your weather of the time that you have. So that's my biggest number one tip. The other big tip would be make sure you have someone to drive you around if at all possible. So we did a share driving situation, which, you know, obviously not super recommended, but it was okay. However, that left us really limited with the time that we could go, because we didn't want to be stupidly, you know, driving through, you know, the really early hours of the morning, all night, that sort of thing. So we're like, right, all the driving will be finished by 1:30 a.m. So, which is good. I'm glad we did it that way. That was definitely a lot safer. However, that left us really inflexible with the weather situation. So, and then of course we ran into issues on Ben Nevis. So yeah, that was my other tip. Get someone to drive, and it'll just be way easier and way more comfortable. So I know it can be hard sometimes, because who wants to drive stinky people around for 24 hours and not even get to see all the cool mountains, but definitely try and rope in a friend or two. You can pay to get guides or whatever, if that's your thing, but if you're anything like me and was on like a super tight budget, definitely get someone to drive you. So they're probably the 2 big overall tips, and then some tips on each mountain. So oh, we had so much fun. It was so good, but we learned so much. So we started at Snowdon, and which is the opposite way to most people who do it, and because that worked better with our timings and whatnot. However, I would recommend starting at Ben Nevis, because Ben Nevis is the most challenging in difficult weather. So that way you can pick the best weather for Ben Nevis and go from there. So, but we started at Snowdon, which is fine, but just never expect to get a car park at the base of the mountain. We went, it was like 6 a.m. or something like that. The car park was full. All day pretty much it was full. The times we were there, it was full. We ended up catching a taxi up. So there is a taxi service if you have to park and then catch a ride up, or if you have that friend, get them to drop you at the car park and go and park down the hill. The issue is reception, having mobile reception to get back to your car or get your car back to you, or whatever it is that you need to do. So about 100, 200 meters from the bottom of the mountain, I guess, but as you go up, you'll start to get reception. So on the way down, just before you get to that point, make sure you call your ride or whatever you need to do, and make sure that person parks in a spot with reception, because obviously it is like super, I know, like dodgy area because of all the mountains and whatnot. So definitely the parking, have a plan B. So that, luckily for us, it was our first mountain, so we could just like sort of get the taxi as you saw and whatnot, and we managed to pull it all together. So, and then that brings us to Scafell Pike. So Scafell Pike, most people do in the dark. If you do the traditional way round of doing it, we did it in the light, and the top section would be really bad for getting lost in the dark, I think. Sorry, it was a little bit foggy, but not too bad when we were there. Like the visibility was still fine. Another tip that I would have is not directly related to Scafell Pike, because we just flew up and down that mountain. It was so good. Everyone was so encouraging. But another tip I would have is, if possible, aim for the closest to June 21 to do your 3 Peaks challenge. So when we went, it was like a week after. I can't remember the exact date. It's been a while now. But it was like a week after, and there was so much light. You know, it started getting light at 3:30 a.m. and like wasn't getting dark till like 11:30 or whatever. Like especially up in Scotland, that was a lifesaver, because like, you know, no one likes climbing mountains in the dark, especially if the trail's not well defined. So yeah, my third tip, actually we did kind of get lost at Scafell Pike down the base, is just research exactly where you need to park, you know, where you need to go. I found some cool guides actually that were free online, that sort of had pictures and like where you need to go and stuff. So I'll try and link them in the comments down below if I can find them again. But they were a lifesaver, because it's like walk until you see this thing and there was like a photo and then turn left. So definitely check that out. So I guess that brings us to the last mountain that we did, which was Ben Nevis in Scotland. My biggest tip, obviously I've already told you, was about the weather. The other tip probably for Ben Nevis is, if you are starting there, definitely stay in the caravan park, because literally you can walk pretty much from there. You walk past the caravan park. So that would probably be my best bet for accommodation. And then as well, you can just start whenever, you know, is good for the weather or whatever. You don't have to worry so much about like, you know, hotel rooms and being out by a certain time and all the rest of that jazz. So yeah, definitely stay in the caravan park, which is at the base there at Ben Nevis. Ben Nevis is the easiest one to navigate, so definitely if you want to start in the dark, you know, feel free. Try and aim to do the top section with the cairns in the light, and when you have good visibility. So all the way up to the, I assume, the top of the switchbacks. We only made it halfway through the switchbacks. It's a really easy trail to follow. Like even in terrible weather and whatnot, you will not get lost. But you really need that clear weather for the top section with the cairns, obviously, because you're going around the gully and you don't want to fall off. So yeah, that would be my tip for Ben Nevis, is that one is totally doable in the dark, except for that top section. So, you know, whether you like race up and down and then just, you know, as the sun's setting, which I think is recommended, would be a really good way of doing it. But most of the track is so well marked, you couldn't get lost if you tried, pretty much. Another overall tip is to maybe get some, like, we had the GPX files, which was fine, except almost all of them were wrong. I'm not sure if it was my app, but Snowdon was like a mile off the whole time. Like the image and the track lined up, but our GPS dot was like a mile off. So I don't know whether that was my app or something else that was wrong there. And then the GPX, which is on the website for Scafell Pike, started in the totally wrong area. It was the wrong track. We met up halfway, but it was like confusing. That's where we got lost down the bottom. We didn't know where to start. And then Ben Nevis, we didn't really use it because we didn't need to, so I'm not sure about the GPX for that one. Let me know in the comments down below if you have used the one on the website. So you might be, you know, it might be worthwhile getting some basic maps. In terms of on the mountain, it's not like you can really get lost that much. There's so many people. The paths are so well known. I mean, if you're doing it in bad weather or in the dark, obviously that adds extra challenges and you want to make sure you can navigate. And so yeah, even if you have the GPX files as a bit of a backup, just be aware that they're not exact for the Three Peaks Challenge. So my last two final tips is basically train. So you don't have to be like a super athlete fit, but you do need to have a good level of fitness, especially if you want to do it in the 24 hours. So basically you need to be able to maintain a steady pace going up and down. You know, get out on as many hills as you can, practice, do general strength training, all that type of stuff, and cardio as well. Just an overall fitness. We found that really helped. We definitely, as you know from all my previous videos, got into training for the Three Peaks, and it helps so much. So definitely train beforehand. It's not something you could just like wake up and go do. I mean, you could, but you wouldn't make it in the 24 hours. So yeah, that's my fitness tip. And then the final tip I have is to just enjoy yourself so much. It is so much fun. The mountains are beautiful. The views are stunning. I could not recommend it highly enough. And you know what? If the 24-hour challenge isn't your thing, don't even stress about it. Like, just take your time. You know, you could spend a week in each of those areas easily, you know, hiking. There's little towns there. It's fantastic. If you want to take your time going out the mountains, you really enjoy the views, if that's your thing, definitely do that. And don't feel bad about it either. Like, just because you're doing the Three Peaks doesn't mean you need to do the whole challenge. Oh, actually, which does bring me to another tip, is be really respectful of the environment. So practice leave no trace. There is so many people that go up and down those mountains, and you can tell the impact it has on the environment, especially at Scafell Pike. So you will see they are doing some restoration works there, or at least they were when I was there. But people have worn paths out on the ground where there is no paths. And that just really gets to me, because they have made a path for you to walk on. So you can navigate it. And just be really mindful of your rubbish, you know, pack things out with you. Because these places, they get so many people that all those little things that you're like, oh, it won't matter. It really adds up. And you can tell as well the locals around that, you know, don't be the bad person that ruins it for everyone else. So just be really mindful. If you don't know about leave no trace, I'll leave a link down below. Have a read of the principles and definitely put them in practice when you're doing the Three Peaks. So anyway, guys, I hope this helped you with tips for the Three Peaks. I know they're pretty general. If you have any specific questions, feel free to post them in the comments down below. I'll try my best to answer them. Some other great resources, which I'll link in the comments down below, in the description, sorry, is there's a Facebook page, Three Peaks Challenge Facebook page, which is a community of people that have like done the Three Peaks, done it a lot, or those that are going to do the Three Peaks Challenge. And it's really supportive, and that's another place where you can ask all those questions. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're not interested in the Three Peaks, it's probably not the best video to watch. But if you are interested in the Three Peaks, then hopefully this has helped you out. And as anyway, guys, keep on liking hiking.